From interactive floor sensors to revolving art, underwater music to a garage full of vintage supercars, Bill Gates' supersized $127 million mansion in Medina, Washington fuses billionaire luxury with high technology at the heart of Gates' working life. Built from the ground up to match Gates' exacting requirements, the Microsoft mogul took 7 years to get things right. He spent time in everything from shipping in tropical sand for a private beach to putting a pair of hidden hideaways in his library. Join us as we explore the kind of property Scrooge McDuck would be proud of. Let's start with the basics. Gates bought the land in Medina way back in 1988. Even then, at the age of 32, he was already noted for his full-on attitude to work. He's said to have personally checked every line of code Microsoft released in the early days. It's unsurprising, perhaps, that he took an equally hands-on approach to ensuring his house lived up to his luxurious standards and featured plenty of technical wizardry. Gates calls his property, located in the Seattle suburb of Medina, Xanadu 2.0. It's a second to the fictional home of Charles Foster Kane, the media tycoon and title character in the iconic 1940s movie Citizen Kane. The completed house extends to 66,000 square feet, giving the property a total floor area around 10% bigger than an American football field. And that's only the main building. In all that space, Gates has 7 luxurious bedrooms and an incredible 24 bathrooms. As well as having a long stretch of lake shoreline, the whole property is built into the side of a hill to help reduce heat loss. Amongst its main features are a library complete with 2 cartoon-like hidden entrances, a 60-foot swimming pool with indoor and outdoor elements, a tennis court, a trampoline room, and a banquet hall big enough to host 200 guests. That banquet hall can do business and casual, with a 22-foot wide screen for presentations as well as a 6-foot wide limestone fireplace to set a more relaxed ambience. A party with 200 guests would require a whole lot of food, of course, so Xanadu 2.0 features 6 separate kitchens, enough to ensure that whichever part of the house is hosting any kind of get-together, there will always be a kitchen nearby. When it comes to work or writing large checks for his foundation, Gates can settle down in that 2-story library, which comes complete with a domed roof and 2 sliding bookshelves. Amongst the extensive stock of text on Gates' ornate shelves is Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Leicester, a one-of-a-kind 16th century notebook which cost over $30 million at auction. One of those sliding bookshelves hides a bar. Terraces at the top of the property provide views across the lake to Seattle and down to the lake terrace, and Gates' Beach, made from sand shipped in annually from the Caribbean island of St. Lucia. Naturally, one of Silicon Valley's most successful icons also crams a huge amount of technology into his not-so-humble abode. On arrival, guests are provided with a connection to the house's numerous sensors. This comes in the form of a programmable pin that can be attached to visitors' clothes or function through a mobile phone. As guests move around the vast space, built-in sensors interact with the technology and adjust the house's environment to match preferences. By being linked up to the building, guests can have their choice of music, lighting, and even temperature follow them around the mansion. The floors are even said to be able to sense who is walking on them, and if you're watching a TV show and decide to take a stroll, you might find the show follows you around the house's different TV screens. If you receive a phone call, the house, already knowing your location, will direct it to you, causing only the nearest phone to ring. The sensors aren't just used for tech though. They also make a great security system, with the floors logging the movements of everyone on the property, known or unknown. The music side of things is particularly smart. Gates had tiny speakers hidden behind the house's wallpaper in every room. Impressive today, but revolutionary when the system was introduced. This means sound is delivered throughout without impacting the house's design, and the system is so extensive you can even listen underwater in the swimming pool. As you'd expect, there's also a sauna, a steam room, and a fitness room. For decoration, $80,000 worth of screens hang around the house, showing a digital rotation of different artwork to suit mood and taste. Naturally, you can also pick your own display, though not all the art in Xanadu 2.0 is digital. Gates' personal collection is worth roughly the same as his house and includes Leonardo da Vinci originals, though it's largely kept out of view. As for the extensive grounds of Xanadu 2.0, there's plenty to explore there too. The design of the property includes an artificial stream stocked with salmon and trout. The stream has become a feature, but was created in part because of concerns that the sheer volume of water running off the sizable property might become dangerous during a torrent. A maple tree in the garden is said to be a particular favorite of the Microsoft man and is carefully monitored electronically to ensure it's well watered. There's also a separate property on the grounds for guests stretching to 1,900 square feet in its own right. Keep exploring that maze-like landscape and you'll also find that imported beach, a series of garages that can fit a total of 23 different cars, and a home cinema complete with its own popcorn maker. Gates is famously a Porsche lover and prefers luxury classics to modern-day supercars. His collection of the high-end German brand is known to include the 911, 959, 930 and Taycan models. Also occupying that extensive garage is a classic Ferrari 348, the final model developed by Enzo Ferrari himself before his death. Not everything is flash, though. In his final months working day-to-day at Microsoft, Gates regularly arrived in a 2008 Ford Focus. The best of Gates' series of garages is tucked underground, a concrete bunker that can host 10 luxury sports cars. His $20 million private jet is kept elsewhere. The people behind Xanadu 2.0, which is created in a style known as Pacific Lodge, are architectural practices Boland Sawinski Jackson and Cutler Anderson Architects. Boland Sawinski Jackson in particular are known for their work on sustainable buildings, and in particular for creating a host of buildings for Microsoft rivals Apple, and also designing Seattle City Hall and the Pixar headquarters. It took over 300 construction workers, including 100 electricians, simply to set up the digital extras to put together the property. The main material used in construction is 500-year-old Douglas fir trees, and the total value of the house means the annual property tax alone is over $1 million. The local neighborhood, Medina, isn't exactly run-of-the-mill either. Gates' neighbors include Jeff Bezos' former wife, author Mackenzie Bezos, as well as former Seattle Supersonics basketball Hall of Famer Jack Sikma, Costco co-founder Jeffrey Brotman, and several of Microsoft's current and former top executives. Just 3,000 people live in Medina, and the area's high prices are notorious even by the standards of this wealthy area of Washington state. Of course, as beautiful as Gates' construction is, something so vast and exuberant is always going to be mocked a little along the way. A 1997 Dilbert column poked fun, for example, by having the cartoon character forced to work at the house after he failed to read a Microsoft user agreement in full. Fellow billionaire Warren Buffett once claimed to have broken his toe at Xanadu and joked about pursuing a lawsuit against Gates. Gates himself has acknowledged that the house is the most extravagant thing he's spent his money on. "I have a nice house. It includes a trampoline room, which seems kind of over the top, but my kids love using it to work off their excess energy," he told a Reddit Ask Me Anything in 2018. "I'm not sure how guilty I should feel about being in a great house," he added, but did go on to add that the success and happiness of his children and regular exercise are even more important to his happiness. To be fair to Gates, even with its monstrous valuation of over $100 million, the house has actually gained value on what he spent on it. It also represents only about 0.1% of his total net worth. For all its stature, he could, if he wanted to, afford far more. Want to see for yourself in person? While you can glimpse Gates' mansion from Lake Washington, it's carefully hidden behind a line of trees that ensure only the odd angled rooftop is visible from the water. If you want a better look, you're not the only one. Gates has auctioned tours of the house for charity in the past, with one of his own Microsoft employees reportedly once paying $35,000 just for a glance inside. Of course, Xanadu 2.0 isn't Gates' only property. Amongst his portfolio, there's also the small matter of a 400-acre, $25 million private island in Belize, in case he should need a little something special on the side. For all its extensive luxury and high technology, what surprised us most about Gates' house, though, is that he dedicated that special, high-ceiling room entirely to trampolining. Long rumoured, the trampoline room was often dismissed as an urban legend, until Gates confirmed its existence in an interview a few years ago. We all have our quirks. So, given the budget of someone like Bill Gates to play with, what would you add to make Xanadu 2.0 even more perfect? An artificial ski slope, piranha-filled fish tanks for walls, rooms that transform at the press of a button. Tell us just how far you'd take things down in the comments.